What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video. If you don't know who I am, that means you're new. I'm Mark. What's good with y'all? Go check out my other videos. Check them out. Check them out. But first, stay on this one. So this video is going to be kind of an interesting topic because I know some people are going to agree with me. Some people are going to disagree with me. Some people are going to just downright bash me for my thoughts on this. But that's more than fine. I'm used to it at this point. I put over 400 videos up on the internet at this point, guys. If you guys think that it hasn't happened, it has happened. So I'm not really worried about that. But in this video, you guys read the title, you saw the thumbnail. We're going to be talking about firearm safety and children. How you would teach, or how I believe you should teach firearm safety, at least to your children. So there's a couple of things that we have to understand here. One, with children, you can't go into as much detail, obviously, as you can with adults about gun safety because their little mind spans, mind spans. Their little attention spans. Sorry, it's been one of those mornings. I've been up since 4 a.m. with the baby. Their attention spans are not very long. We can agree there. So how would you go about teaching firearm safety to your child? The way I would phrase it is simply the same way you teach them to not play with fire, the same way you teach them to not play with knives, the same way you teach them to not play in the middle of the road is the same way you teach them about firearm safety. Okay, we'll take a knife, for example. You see this part right here? This is the part that cuts you. You do not touch it. You do not touch these unless I am around. If you see one laying around, you come get me and I will pick it up. Why would you, not think it's the same thing with firearms is what I'm curious about. But that's the exact same way you would teach them how to react if they saw a firearm. I mean, you tell them, look, you do not touch right here. Where do you point on the gun? The trigger. Where do you point on the knife? The blade. Okay, you see this lying around, you see anything like this lying around, you do not touch it, you do not pick it up, you do not play with it, you come get me. Wow, it's that easy and simple. It's not very difficult to teach firearm safety to children, or at least to, I don't mean to say it like in a negative way or in a condescending manner, but like dumb it down to where kids can understand, because in a way you do have to, you know what I mean? There's a reason why some people, when they feel like you're talking to them like they're an idiot, will be like, oh, why are you talking to me like I'm a child? Well, you do have to dumb down some of the things you say for a child to understand it. It's plain and simple. Do not play with this. You can get hurt playing with this. If you see this lying around, you come get me. You do not touch it. You do not pick it up. You do not play with it. And then as they get older, you can start to teach them more so about the universal firearm safety rules. You can teach them with a BB gun. That's how I would start. And then eventually later on down the line, get them their first firearm, teach them how to shoot, things like that. However, the whole point that I've been getting at with this video is that you guys can see that it's not very different than teaching them, not to play with knives. It's not very different than teaching them not to play with fire. It's not very different than teaching them not to play with a socket. I mean, I don't know what else to say to you guys. I don't know how else to explain it. Teaching firearm safety to a child should be very easy, and especially if we're talking a younger child. Do not touch that. No, you can get hurt doing that. Same way you would do it with a knife. Same way you would tell them, no, you do not run in the road. You can get hurt like that. Same way. It is the exact same thing. You just say, no, you do not do that. And you instill in them that they are to not touch that or else they could possibly get hurt. Then as they get older, of course, guys, as they get older, you can then start to go into more detail and explain to them what exactly it is, why they can get hurt, things like that. We'll take fire, for example. Okay, well, that's going to burn you. That's going to hurt. Well, they don't really know what burning means, okay? A lot of kids, truth be told, I am one of them, or was one of them. I was one of them who had to experience getting burned before I knew what getting burned actually was. The whole point I'm getting at is you teach a child, you do not play with fire, do not touch fire, you will get hurt, you will get burned. Okay, cool. As they get older, they start to understand, oh, Fire is extremely, extremely hot. That's why it hurts. That's why I'm going to get hurt if I do that. Same way with a gun. Do not touch this. You can get hurt if you touch this. They get older, you start to explain to them, well, here's the thing, that's a gun. If you sit there and play around with it, you pull the trigger, it's going to go off, obviously. They're going to understand, oh, that's how I could have gotten hurt. Of course, yes, as they progress with age, so will you have to progress in teaching them firearm safety. However, when they are very young, it is very easy, very simple. No, do not touch it. If you touch it, you're going to get a spanking. Some of you guys might not agree on spanking your kids. I'm not against it personally. Uh, do not touch it. You can get hurt. If I see you touching it, you are going to get a spanking. You do not touch it. You're going to get hurt. Plain and simple. I mean, there will be some situations, even as the kid's young. For example, we'll take knives, for example. I have a daughter. My wife is probably going to, be sitting there watching our daughter while she's cooking for me. So guess what? Knives are going to be involved. Do not touch these. Only mom can touch them. See what I mean? It's not hard to teach children to not do things. Whether or not they're going to listen is a whole nother thing. But of course, that's why you have to sit there and be safe with your firearms as a whole. I mean, if you're going to leave a gun with the round in the chamber just hanging around where your kid can get to it, that's probably not a good idea, buddy. It's not a great idea to say the least. But the entire point I'm getting at is very early on, it's not going to be difficult to teach children firearm safety. As they progress in age, yes, you're going to have to give them more details about firearm safety, things like that. You're going to have to teach them eventually how to shoot, things like that. But that's where it starts to get fun. That's where it starts to get interesting. And that's where it starts to become more enjoyable for them instead of more of like, hey, whoa, 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 don't touch it, don't go near it. You know what I mean? But with that being said, I think that about wraps it up for this video. I knew this one wasn't going to be a particularly long one. However, I did want to point out that it's not as hard as some people would like to make it seem. You essentially are just going to teach them to not touch or play with guns at a young age. In the same manner you would teach them to not play with knives, in the same manner you would teach them to not play with fire, in the same manner you would teach them to not play in the middle of the road. I mean, I don't know how else to explain it to you guys. It seems fairly obvious and easy. But with that being said, I think that about wraps it up for this video. Y'all make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, hit that bell. When you hit that bell, hit all and whether or not you agree with me, and I already know some people are going to comment down below and be disagreeing with me, but whether or not you agree with me about my thoughts on how you should teach your child firearm safety, go ahead and comment down below. Make sure to check out all my other videos. Y'all make sure to stay legal, stay safe, stay dangerous. Have a good one, y'all. Peace.